Hello, hello, hello. My name is Shelby. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am so excited because I am finally doing my book talk for Aurora Rising by J. Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. Just quickly want to point out the tagline for this book. They're not the heroes we wanted. They're just the ones we could find. I love it. Okay, one more thing before I get to the summary and the review and everything. The company that I rep for, Wiki Candle Co., actually does have an Aurora Rising candle. I have it here. It's called Girl Out of Time. It smells like cashmere glow and cherry blossoms. It smells super clean and has a shiny purple coating on top. So be sure to use my code GRACE20 if you're interested in that. Alrighty then, let's just get right to my non-spoilery review of it, or summary of it. So, Aurora Rising. The book is about 7 different individuals who, based on uncontrollable circumstances, are forced to come together and create this team, or squad, setting out to sort of protect the universe. The team is made up of the Alpha, the Diplomat, the Scientist, the Gearhead, the Warrior, the Pilot. And every team in the Aurora Legion has those different people in it. And as you read the book, you find out more about each of their individual roles. The one unaccounted for member of this team is this girl who the Alpha, Tyler, found in cryosleep in this mysterious place called the Fold. She has been in there for 200 years, and she is the girl out of time. And despite being 200 years displaced out of her own time, Aurora may be the catalyst for this big intergalactic war that's been brewing for years in the making. This book is funny, it is shocking, there are so many twists and turns. I highly recommend that if you haven't picked it up yet or looked at it or heard of it before, go look it up, go buy it, go check it out, read, come back here and we'll have a discussion about the plot. Alright, non-spoilery people, bye! Hi guys, I'm so excited to talk about this book. I have notes, I'm excited to discuss said notes with you, and let's just get right into it. So, one of the first things that I noticed about this book, and this was format-wise because I had recently read the Nevernight Chronicles by J. Kristoff. The first thing that I really noticed was the flashback sequence at the beginning of the book. I thought that, first of all, was really clever. We had him and Tyler, our main character, in the future, and we had him in the past and moving back and forth to see how we got into that situation of rescuing Ori from the cryogenesis time capsule thing. What it reminded me of was that scene, the first few chapters at the beginning of God's Grave, when we have Mia in the situation at the beginning of the book. Ooh, my ring light is there. Where we have Mia in her situation at the beginning of the book, and then we get a lot of flashbacks to see how she got there. So that writing was similar in both books, which I thought was interesting. Just to see how Amy and Jay's writing styles from both of their separate series sort of meshed together in that book. So I thought that was really interesting how he had that format. Also, I wasn't aware of this when I picked up the book, but I did some research on it because I had watched some other people's book talks for this book, and one question that a lot of people had was, is this in the same or is it a different universe than Illumini, which is the other series that Jay and Amy wrote together? And on Jay's website, or was it on Goodreads? I don't remember, but somewhere J. Kristoff actually said that this is a completely separate universe from Illumini, so for those people who are wondering, that is the answer. The next thing I really just want to touch on are the characters in this book. J. Kristoff actually wrote that these characters are Breakfast Club meets Guardians of the Galaxy. I love both movies, I love Guardians of the Galaxy, and I can totally see that in this book. I actually wrote down different keywords from different characters. I listed all the characters down, and then I had the first few things that came to mind when I thought of the characters. I'm gonna read you those now. For Tyler, I wrote Dimples, Golden Boy, Legacy Hero. He is the quintessential golden-haired, strong male figure, the leader, the alpha, as is his actual role. He was very stereotypical, so his character was sort of the easiest to digest and to accept and move on. The next character I have written down here is Ori. Of course, Ori is the girl out of time. She was put in cryosleep because to join her father on this new world called Octavia, and she woke up 200 years later knowing that everything she had ever known and loved is gone. One of the things I really liked about Ori's character in general was how realistic she was. I mean, of course, how much realism can you get when you are in a sci-fi series, but I really loved Her reactions were genuine. Her emotions were valid. A lot of cases, I believe, in YA fantasy, characters accept things very easily. So, you know, like a character will be like transported to a whole new world, and then in like a chapter, she'll be freaking out for a little bit, and then she'll be completely fine and totally adapted to this new world. But with Ori, you can really see her struggle with her new atmosphere and her new surroundings. She had her freakouts. She had her disbelief. Constantly throughout the book, we could see her missing her family and struggling with the choices she made before she was put in cryosleep. So I just thought she was extremely real for the situation she was in. And I really liked that about Ori herself. Is that even how you pronounce it? Do you pronounce it Ori, Ari? I don't know. Like, I'm thinking like Aurora, Ori. So I was also wondering the whole time if, because like the academy that all of these different squad members are training at is called the Aurora Legion. So I was wondering if it was actually named after Aurora, our sleeping girl, or if that was just one big coincidence. I wonder if that'll be explained later. The next character I have up here is Kat. Oh my goodness. Big chip on her shoulder, definitely a tough tomboy. I did not like her character for the majority of the book. A little of it was because like I knew she had a crush on Tyler and I wanted Ori and Tyler, but then that shifted in the middle of the book when we found out that Cal liked Ori, and I was like, I like that better, so I was sort of adjusting my opinion on Kat. But that ending is really what sealed the deal for me. That killed me inside. Her sacrificing herself, her fighting the Eshvaren, the big villain of this story, her fighting them in order to save her friends, and then still allowing herself to be pulled back in. I have no idea what's going to happen with that. I hope she can be saved. But given what we know about the Eshvaren, it's sort of unlikely, and that makes me really upset because I was like really starting to like her, and then she just got pulled from me. So that was that. So in the end, she sort of like, she was a hero the whole time, but to me, she really proved herself in those last moments. So the next character I have written down is Cal, our fun alien Legolas, as Ori likes to call him. And literally the only thing I have written down for him is love him, love him, love him, love him. Like it's literally just love him, love him, love him, love him. He was just like the sweetest mama bear. And I say mama bear because like he was so protective of Ori, even though we didn't know why at first. And I was just like, protect her. And Ori thought he was just such a jerk. And I get it. She's like nothing he has ever seen before. He is nothing she has ever seen before. I loved all of her Lord of the Ring references to him. And then learning that they were soulmates just sort of like sealed the deal for me. Ori took the time once he told her that they were soulmates, and she took the time, she accepted the situation in her own way, and then she was like, okay, like I'm not sure that this is how I feel, but I'm willing to give it a try. And that was like, thank God. I would have been so mad if that hadn't happened. My light is flickering and I don't know how to fix it. The next character I'm going to mention is Scarlett, who is Tyler's twin, and I love her. She's our diplomat. She is the one who is meant to smooth over any situations that may arise on their intergalactic quests. It's what she's been trained for. This, like with her character, my favorite thing was the sibling love. I love how she called Tyler B-bro. As you guys probably know from past videos, like I adore sibling love in books, and it was just the cutest thing how protective they were of each other, but also were like, my sibling is badass and I'm gonna let them do their own thing because I trust them. So they were questioning each other, fooling around with each other, and yet they still were like a team. And I absolutely loved that. For Finian, our albino alien, I literally have down, I ship him and Scarlett. Enough said. He was so funny, so sarcastic. I loved it. And then lastly, I have Zila. I really wish we got more from her from this book. Every time Zila has a chapter, it's like only a few paragraphs and then it's done. They're usually only one page, giving us a little glimpse into her mind and then nothing. I honestly thought she was a really interesting character ever since we learned that she was really good with science but not really good with people. I wanted to know more about that personally. Towards the end, we got a little bit more of her background, how she's much better at solving problems but not with connecting with people. I really hope we get more of her in the second book, but it was just like, it was something I didn't really like, how everyone got a lot of time in the book but her. And maybe that was done purposefully, but I feel like in an introductory book, you need to get an equal amount of all the characters so you sort of know where all of them coming from. Maybe this is a literary device. I'm not sure. All I know is that I really wanted more from her and I wanted more of her background. And by not getting a lot of her character in this book, it made me want it more. So I hope in the next book we get more of Zila. When reading this book, it reminded me a little bit of another book that I had read in the past, which is called Across the Universe by Beth Revis. It's not like a word for word remake. I'm not saying that this book is copying at all. I'm just saying that some of the stuff that happens in the plot reminds me of that book. For example, Across the Universe is about a girl named Amy who is on this passenger ship to this new world with her scientist parents, and about 50 years before the ship is supposed to land, she is accidentally pulled out of her cryo sleep and finds herself on this ship with no friends, no idea, and having to face the reality that she has to wait 50 years for her parents to wake up. So that similarity between Amy and Aurora. So like when I was thinking of Aurora and her reactions, I was in my mind comparing them to Amy and her reactions in Across the Universe. So I thought that was really interesting, and I connected those two books immediately. I don't know if they got inspiration from it or if they've even ever heard of it. I'd be interested in knowing that because it is a really good book. I also loved how this book is a mix between Illumini and just a regular classic book. Illumini was so unique because of the format that the book was in. It was pictures, it was letters, it was texts, and it wasn't a lot of hardcore just writing pages. I mean, there was stuff like that, but it wasn't often. It was really rare that you got like a chapter of just plain writing in Illumini. And this book, it sort of was like the opposite. So occasionally we would get some pictures and some maps or explanations like so, but in the end it was mostly writing. So I like how, like, if you like one style of book you can read it, and if you didn't really like the Illumini format, you can read Aurora Rising and sort of still get that scientific fantasy-esque plot from Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. Alright, let's talk about that ending. Throughout the book, our squad was tormented by people who wanted to silence Aurora, and at first I was thinking like she knows something, like they're doing this big cover-up of the place she was supposed to go to, but then we learned that the people targeting her aren't humans. In fact, they are these Eshverin, who are this very ancient species who want to make everything part of them. I'm reminded of Ego from Guardians of the Galaxy, who was a living planet who wanted every planet to become a part of him, so the Eshverin sort of remind me of him. Years and years ago, the Eshverin were defeated by the Raha'am, I think that's what they're called, another ancient species whose powers were able to force the Eshverin back onto one planet. And while Ori, who is our girl out of time, was in the Fold, which is this space between spaces, I guess, it allows for the Aurora Legion to travel easily to different corners of the universe, but while she was in that area for 200 years, the Raha'am had sort of placed their powers inside of her and making her the key or the weapon to defeat the Eshverin this time, which is why the Eshverin wanted to corrupt her, or, you know, silence her. I believe this book is supposed to be a trilogy, so I don't have any good hopes for the second book. Not that I don't think it will be good, I just don't think we're going to get a lot of answers or a lot of action done. I think we'll learn more about each characters, and I think they'll be on the run and fighting and figuring out how to get more allies to assist in the takedown of the Eshverin, but I don't think it'll end well because that's just generally what second books are. They're this middle, in-between place where more conflict happens only to be resolved in the third book. But overall, I really enjoyed the book. I really enjoyed the plot. I thought it was so creative. I thought it was funny and scary and shocking, and there was love and there was fighting, and I was just overall really happy with this space adventure. I give Aurora Rising 4.5 stars. I want to end this with a little, if you liked this, then you'll like these, like just some recommendations for you if you liked Aurora Rising as well. The first book I'm going to recommend is Across the Universe by Beth Revis. As I said before, it has a lot of similarities to Aurora Rising, so if you really enjoyed this book, I think you'll enjoy that book as well. The next book I'm going to recommend for you guys is Alienated by Melissa Landers. This is more of a romance book. It takes place on Earth, but it also takes place on another planet. It's an intergalactic romance, and it is beautiful. The last book I'm going to recommend to you guys is Gravity by Melissa West. once again, two alien species, humans and another race, sort of working towards diplomatic peace, but also conspiracies come to try to disrupt that peace. So those are 3 books I think you will like if you liked Aurora Rising. Be sure to check those out. Okay, everyone, I hope you all enjoyed these book talk. Leave below your thoughts on Aurora Rising. What did you think? What did you rate it? Were you gonna pick it up now? And that is it for this video. So thank you guys so much. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you guys soon. Bye!